So why have an index? We already talked about the value of an index. It's just very, very valuable to the reader. And a lot of people, because an index is done at the end, a lot of people are so tired of the book, or they've worked so hard on it and they're pushing through for the deadline, and they get to the end and they just say, well, I'm done. You know, I really don't want to do an index. But an index is so valuable, and I'll show you a couple ways here that you can do an index that I think it will be easy to do, and it's not such a huge task. Let me show you just a couple examples. This one, let's see. So this one I just show a regular index, name index, and you just put the page numbers on with a comma in between them. You can put the numbers over next to it like this one. This one I included because I wanted to show, this is one from Dad's book, and so you can just list the surname once. This one, the surname is repeated each time. So you list the surname, and then you're just listing the first name. And then once you come into a new surname, so like Colgrove, you know, you don't have to write Colgrove Susanna each time. You can just list the surname once, and then the first names fall right underneath it like this. I included this one to show you this one. Not only do you want to just list what the names are, this is, you know, this particular volume is on Willard, so that's why there's so much on Willard. But what I wanted to show was not just where his name's mentioned, but particular things like, you know, where he met Ben Franklin, or where he talked about the Book of Mormon, or where he was born. You know, the particular events that are, you know, special events that people are going to be looking for, list where those are, rather than just, if they were just in this list, then they have to look at every single thing. So that's why this is valuable. So how to do an index? There's 3 different ways to do an index that are pretty common. And so I'm just going to kind of step you through each of those 3 ways, and you can decide which way you want to do. The first 2 ways are manual. And again, on your handouts, all this information, so you've got that on there. So the first 2 ways are manual, and the third one's automated. So this one's the card method. So you just take a bunch of index cards, and you write one name on the top of each card. As you're going through, as you're working on the book, you're typing the book, or maybe you're done with the book and you're just ready to start the index and you want to use the card method. So you just write the name on the top of the card until you've got all the names written. And so then you alphabetize the cards. So you put all the cards in alphabetical order so you can find it easily. So then you start the first of the book, and you're just going to go through it page by page, and then you just enter the number of that page number as they appear. So you're reading the book and it says Uncle John. So you go to, you know, John Clark, and so you find John Clark's card and you write page 6 on that one, or whatever page number it is. And you just keep doing that till you get to the end of the book. And then you've got your index all ready. So all you've got to do is you just take those cards and just type up the name and the numbers after it, and away you go. You've got it all set. So that's the card method. Then this is the typing method. And this method, what you do is, instead of using index cards, you do it in the computer. So you're going to make a separate file, you know, maybe call the file index or whatever you want to call it, but, you know, it's a separate file. It's not the same file that your book's in, but it's a separate file. And you type just all the names. Instead of writing them on the cards, you're going to type the names. This is the method I prefer, by the way. This is the one that I would recommend most people do as they do an index. To me, this is the easiest, it's the simplest, and it's has a couple less steps. So you type this, and you can be making this list as you're working on the book. I mean, you can start this index from day one as you're typing. And as you type somebody's name, you think, oh, I need to put that one in the index, or is that in the index? And you just put it in, and you just keep them in alphabetical order, and then you can see if you've got it there or not. Yeah, you can use the sort function in the computer to alphabetize it for you. And, you can go back and forth between them, and that's why you want it in a separate file. And so you just type these up, and you know make the list. And so then you've got this list So when you're done with the book, now I'm finished. It's been all proofread. I've got the page numbers exactly, everything's stable. It's right where it's going to be. I've finished putting the pictures in, so every name is where it's going to finish, where it's going to be published. Then you just you go through the book and you print out a copy of the index pages. So I've got a printout of those index pages, and it's typically you want to do this so that you just have one name in the column. You don't want to put 2 columns on there. Usually just one column, just so you have lots of room to write in case somebody has lots of entries. And so then you just go through, and again, it's just like with the index cards. It's the same technique. You're just going to start the first of the book. As it talks about Uncle John, you just flip to his page that he's on, and you just write the page number on that index page. Go through the book, writing all the page numbers on there, and maybe you'll find somebody as you're going through reading that you left off, and you can just write them in. That's why I'd suggest you keep it double spaced so you can add somebody in if you need to. And then all you got to do is, after you've gone through the book, you just type in the page numbers and you're done. And the index is all set. Maybe you'll need to reformat it because you don't want it double spaced when you do the final thing. But just do a little bit of formatting. And if you want to do it so you just have the surname listed once, then you can just pull those extras out. But it's a very simple method. I like it. It meets my simple mind, and it gives me a little bit of control on it. Now we'll get a little more complicated because the automated method is a little bit more complicated. And so if I lose you here, don't worry about it. I don't usually recommend this method. Some people like to do this, and if you like to do it, that's fine. But this method is the way that as you're writing the book and you're going through the book typically, and you come across somebody's name that you want to include in the index, you highlight that name, and then you do shows here. If you're doing it in Word, you go to the Reference tab in Word, and then you indicate that you want that name to be included in the index. So Clark, make index entry is what pops up, this little box. And then you can type here what you want to include in the entry. It'll automatically put this name in there for you. But maybe that says Uncle John, but his name you want in the index, you want his name to be, Clark, John James, or whatever his full name is or something. So you have the opportunity to change that name right there, whatever it is. And then as you're typing along and you come across somebody else, and you just do the same thing for each of those. So you just mark each of the individuals to be included in the index and what the name appears. It tracks it for you. So whatever page that's going to end up on, then you go to the back of the book and you automatically then at the back of the book where you're going to put the index when you're ready to do it. Again, your book's all done, you've proofread it all, it's all ready to go, all the pages are stable. Then you say this is where I want the index, and then you say generate index, and it will generate the index. But if you did mark that next page, it will say, okay, page 6. Let's say he's on every page 6 through 10. It'll say 6-10. It does number it correctly. It'll make the index exactly correctly as far as numbering. If he's on page 6 and page 10 and page 35, it'll put 6, 10, 35. So it does it accurately. The problem is, again, just like with the automated table of contents, you lose control. You may not like the way it looks. You may not like the way it formatted it. And once it's done that, the only way you can fix it is to manually fix it all. So you're back to manually doing it. So that's one of the reasons why I like that manual method. It really works well. But if you like to do it this way, that's fine. That's why I wanted to show you that way, just so you'd know. Any questions on this particular method or anything that we've talked about?